not only should you get solar panel as a concept, but if you're fortunate enough to live in Rhode Island and you're fortunate enough to be able to do business with a company like Smart Green Solar, that's the way you want to approach it. I have zero regrets. Hey, why are you paying for something that you could get for free out of the sky? You know, it's a no-brainer to me. My name's Tony Sangiovanni. I live in Warwick, Rhode Island. Been here in this town my whole life. Got solar installed. It was, by the time it was turned on, it was the spring of 2022. You know, it was one of those things I was always interested in, but was a little skeptical to pull the trigger on. So really it just made sense. When you're looking at the future and looking at, you know, what things do you want to get off of your plate before you retire in terms of costs, getting rid of an energy bill just seemed like the obvious thing. Obviously, you know, the environmental impact is great. Sunshine's free, turn it into energy. It's just, to me, it was a no-brainer. I think people are going to look back at this in 20 years from now and wonder why didn't everybody get it, right? It seems obvious to me. It's been spectacular. You know, we run our air conditioning pretty heavy for people who live up north. To not have to spend that huge amount of money in those summer months is a huge gain. I've noticed a huge difference. It's really kind of negated it. If you look at it year over year versus month over month, it's almost net zero. If anything, I might have even got money back from the Rhode Island Renewable Energy Program as a result. So definitely saw a big change in the amount I pay for energy. It was during the pandemic. I was working from home and a gentleman knocked on the door and I was gonna politely tell him that I wasn't interested, and then I saw the Smart Green Solar. So he told me about what it was, how it works, and what Smart Green Solar could do for you and how easy it was and affordable, and really over the years how much money you would ultimately save. I had to take the next step. And to this day, I found nothing that what he told me was either inaccurate or misleading. His experience was great. You can tell by his energy that he was genuinely interested in getting people to sign up for it. Not because it was his job, but because he believed that it was the right thing to do. As a, this sounds corny, but as a race of people, you know, to try to survive on this planet, get free energy, do it, you know, do it now. Yeah, as far as other solar companies, I had actually looked into other companies before the knock on the door came, and even after, just to look around. What I found just from testimonials, from other online research, Better Business Bureau, that Smart Green Solar was a good company, a legit company, and more importantly, people who had done business with them would recommend them to others. That's a term called Net Promoter Score, applies to every industry, and their Net Promoter Score was where I wanted it to be. So yes, I did look at other companies, but Smart Green Solar was pretty much the obvious choice once I looked into it. So to me, it's an obvious thing. I happen to have an electric car, so it even has an extra benefit for me. And when people have asked me about whether I like solar, it's, you know, to not have an electric bill for the last, 18 months, to not have to have a gas bill for the last 2 years, I would never go back. It's a great, and if you think about it, with inflation, not just electricity prices going up, with everything going up, where do you cut? You can't stop paying rent, you can't stop buying groceries. The only thing you can do is be smart about your energy. So fortunately, there's an alternative, and this is it. To me, it's a no-brainer. It's tough to write a check for anything that has more than 5 figures, at least it is for me. And the thing for me is, I don't feel like I spent the money, I feel like I've invested the money. So when I sell this house, it's got solar panels on it. I'm not gonna get less for it. I'm gonna get a lot more for it. So to me, this was just putting money back into an investment and the dividend or the payoff is, oh, by the way, you don't have to pay for electricity anymore. So yeah, it's win-win all the way around. These guys were here in one day, they were fantastic. I was actually working from home that day, very little disruption. I offered the poor guys coffee and everything. They were fine, they were self-sufficient, but they did a really good job. They had to do both sides of the house because I have panels on both sides. And they were super fast, super efficient. You can tell they were professionals. When I spoke to them, they were polite. You can tell it wasn't their first job. They're very experienced. I almost wish I took a business card from them to hire them for other jobs because they seem to know what they were doing. But no, the installation team was excellent, really good. There's also a super great app, which anyone who gets electricity, you're gonna be looking at this app, just seeing dollar signs of how much money you're passively earning just from the sun shining. It's really cool. But no, as far as the aesthetics, I don't think it looks bad at all. It looks smart, I think, if anything. So yeah, I wear it like a badge of honor. I think they looked better than I thought. The black panels I think are really nice. And I love that they clean themselves, because in the fall I had a ton of pollen on it, and I'm like, I gotta get up on the roof. And it's first rain, just clean it right off. It's great. Anytime you're shopping for a product or a service, you're not just looking for how good the product is or how good the people are, but how easy it is to do business with them. And just all of the little things that I would never have known that evolved in a solar project, I never even had to know. So there was the known unknowns of what's it gonna look like or how's it gonna work versus the unknown unknowns, the permits, the applications to the process. You know, if you live in Rhode Island, you're very, very fortunate to have the Rhode Island Renewable Energy Program. You know, to me, it was just so easy. It was like hitting an easy button. I didn't even have to think about permits or getting, you know, all these things straightened out in the application process. So yeah, they made it super easy. That to me is, I would more likely recommend a business or service based on how easy it is to do business with them, how responsive they are, more so than the product itself. Products can be imitated, services can be imitated. What you can't imitate is how well you make it easy for your customers. That's a harder thing to change. And Smart Green Solar seems to have figured it out. But honestly, when I was reading the contract and thinking about all the things that had to happen, it wasn't me that had to do it. You know, it was kind of like a duck swimming. You know, you see it gliding across the water, but meanwhile underwater you see all the feet and the feathers going crazy. Smart Green Solar was the feet and the feathers. They did all the heavy lifting and I just had to sit there and wait for them to turn it on. It was great. Nothing you guys couldn't have done different. Everybody was responsive. Your communication channels were great. I had to speak to the manager once about a question about the billing and he was right back to me, you know, right on top. So everything was great end to end.